You're watching Drake Queen Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Queen Gaming, and some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. The day I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Tennis Ace. Now, which one are we on? Okay, we are on Case Path. Alrighty, y'all, so let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you were up, and let's go. Alrighty. I lean over towards Saya Chan, whispering to her. Do you understand what they're saying at all? Maybe every fifth word? I'll look for a few references, and I will try to work that out. If anything, that might be a new direction to look to. I'm glad to have helped. A few hours later, Keisuke and I are the only ones left. After dinner, the entire group headed to the karaoke, where we stayed for most of the rest of the day. This is the first time I've seen Keisuke singing his heart out without any concerns. Like the last time we were there where he needed to be goaded into it, he nearly hogged the microphone today. A lot of the session was us watching Saya and Keisuke sing duets together. They were by far the ones who seemed to enjoy themselves the most. Not that the rest of us weren't having fun, too. By the time we left, the sun had already set, and we all had to begin heading home. The group started disbanding little by little until we got to the point where we are in now. With only Keisuke and I walking together by one of the streets near the station. You look pretty happy. I am. Good. I'm glad you had fun. I know you were a bit hesitant about this whole thing before, so it's good to see that you still managed to enjoy yourself. My concern was never about whether I could enjoy myself or not. It was about whether other people should go through the trouble for my sake or not. Is it that hard to understand that we love you and want to spend time with you? Thanks. No, really, thank you so much for today, Yuichi-san. It meant a lot to me. Why are you thanking me only? You didn't thank the others for it. You know they were just as much a part of it as I was. I know, but it means a lot more when it comes from you. Uh-oh. Keisuke looks around for a second, checking that the coast is clear before quickly leaning in forward and planting a kiss on my lips. He lingers only for a few seconds, but only barely letting me acclimate to the warm, moist feeling of his lips before pulling away again. Aha! There! This should serve as a better kiss than the last time. I don't know if I can just replace a first kiss like that. If we both agree to consider it our first, then why not? I guess that's fair. Good, so we're agreed. I guess he really was troubled by the way our first kiss went this whole time. And by the way, you're not at all subtle, you know. Huh? What do you mean? There's no one around here. I don't mean right now. At the movies. The movies? He nods, raising his hand to the air and waving it in front of my face. I believe this is what you were looking for back then. Oh, I didn't think you noticed that. What? Didn't notice you constantly pawing at my hand and brushing against it the whole movie? It's not hard to tell why you weren't paying attention. Shut up! You're really cute when you're flustered like this. In fact, it makes me want to play around with you a bit more. He's turning on his masochistic mode again. I suddenly feel very unsafe. So, I was thinking, would it be alright if I came over to... Keisuke's cut off by the loud ringing of his phone inside his pocket, a high-pitched sound that snaps both of our attentions away. And in good timing, too. I'm pretty sure I could tell where he was going with that sentence, and I don't think I've been able to keep my cool if he'd finished it. Hang on, give me a second. I set my phone on Do Not Disturb, so Alex should be the only one going through and ringing today. If he's calling you, then it sounds like it'd be important. I doubt it, but I should still answer. Saved by the gong, or in this case, the phone. Yes, Keisuke speaking. What is it, Alex? What? Right now? But No, I get that, but... This better really be an emergency. If I get there and find out it's something stupid again, I'm going to beat you over the head with a baseball bat. That's unnecessarily violent. You haven't sent the car already. You're really not giving me any room to argue here, are you? Yeah, fine. I'm in the station near school. Alright, I'll be there. Keisuke turns off his phone, sighing loudly while rubbing the bridge of his nose, his left brow twitching every so often. Yep, I've seen this expression before. He's trying really hard not to lose his temper right now. Sorry, Yuichi-san. Apparently there's something I'm needed for right away. I won't be able to stick around. I heard, so he even sent the car before calling you? Yes, annoying little asshole. He already knew he'd talk me into going home anyway. The car should be less than 5 minutes away. I'm gonna have to run to the station to get there in time. Is that really even necessary? If there's an actual emergency, yes. I should get going. I can go with you to the station. Ugh. Don't be silly. We're already near your home. There's no point in you doing that. But, Yuichi, it's fine. I appreciate the offer, but I can take care of myself. One second, y'all. Thanks again for today. I'm sorry to cut this short so suddenly, but I really have to go now. I'll see you again tomorrow. Yeah, see ya. See ya. Keisuke runs off just as fast as I'm used to seeing him run by now. Jeez, he really has some spring in his step when he wants to. He might have had an easier time becoming a track star than a tennis player. Turning around, I begin my way home. A faint smile still across my face as I remember the events of earlier in the day. Most importantly, I can barely keep myself from reaching with my fingers to touch my lips, still remembering the feeling of Keisuke kissing me. It takes little time to spot the car, parked by a curb near the intersection in front of the station. A black sedan with no identifying marks whatsoever. A part of me is pleasantly surprised to see that they are capable of listening to me on occasion. Either that or someone doesn't want me to be noticed. Whichever it is, I'll take my blessings when I am given them. The car soon begins to rumble, shaking the entire frame as it takes off without further delays. This best be important. You're interrupting my birthday celebration. Apologies, young master. We were told it was urgent. Master Saga requested your presence at the estate immediately. I try to keep them as distant from my regular life as I can, but they still find their small ways to interfere with it. Alexander insisted I take the sedan out this time. It said it wouldn't be a good idea to call attention to ourselves this late at night. Alexander was right. Thank you for listening. However, you need not apologize for father's whims, Akobe. And I know it's been said before, but please refrain from referring to me in that manner. My apologies, young master. As I've mentioned before, I am not at the liberty to do so. Figures. Not only am I forced to have servants all around me, I am not even allowed to speak casually with them for fear of someone listening in. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a wiretap in this car either. The long drive home is taken in complete silence. The most I can do to pass the time is check my phone every few minutes, being careful not to overdo it lest my motion sickness kicks in. I made sure to send Yuichi and the others a message right after I left, thanking them once more for the day they spent with me. I'm not used to having others caring for me in this kind of manner, but it certainly brings a smile to my face knowing that I have such thoughtful friends. Having Yuichi messaging me even at this time is certainly nice. For all his hesitations when we first started dating, he seems to have grown into our relationship far quicker than I expected him to. Although, that is not to say things have been perfect. It is still quite clear that he's not yet fully accustomed to the idea of dating a man. His embarrassment can be quite cute at times. It takes quite a bit of self-control to not tease him relentlessly. And here I was ready to push for a little more intimacy tonight. What horrible timing for this interruption. I will have to slide those thoughts into the back burner until another good opportunity presents itself. Which is fine by me. I've been patient so far. I can remain so for a while longer. Arriving at the estate, Akobe quickly parks the car along with the other family vehicles. Far too many for me to count, and way more than would be necessary. Even after all these years, I still find this place to be unnecessarily luxurious. No one needs a house this big, or this many cars. Young master, it pleases me to see you arrive safely. Young master, huh? Seems it's not safe for us to talk freely out here either. Yes, it is good to see you as well. It is also surprising to see you still here. I thought you would have gone home by now. Alex's left eyebrow twitches. I can quite clearly tell that he is currently struggling to keep a straight face. Something has come up. I am, however, very sorry to have interrupted your plans. I appreciate your apology, Alexander. Now do tell me, what is it that was so urgent? 1 second, y'all. It is not my place to say, young master. I was asked to escort you inside immediately. Master Saga and Mistress Kyoko wish to speak with you. I might actually get in trouble for dallying so long. Hearing her name, the fur at the back of my neck prickles right away. I have to swiftly remind myself to perform my usual breathing exercises. Otherwise the displeasure will become apparent in my face. I see. You risk punishment in order to work out a way to inform me of grandmother's presence here. Thank you, Alex. I will find a way to reward you later. Excuse me. Very well. Please lead me inside. Alex nods, dismissing the driver with a few curt words before setting off ahead of me into the estate and through the hallways. From the way his shoulders are tensed up and the rhythm of his steps, I can tell something has got him on edge. The very idea of that is slightly terrifying. He walks briskly for a few steps before noticing that I am not keeping up. Once he realizes it, he swiftly slows down to match my pace. Neither he nor I are good at this whole walking elegantly thing. But as it will most certainly be expected of me to be seen as such, I have no choice but to leave Alex to adjust to me. Alex leads me towards the tatami room. My stomach churns as soon as I realize where we are heading. Suffice to say, I don't have pleasant memories of that room. It's usually only used during meetings or important family discussions. Worse even, as soon as the door is slid open, the first thing that hits me is the disgustingly sweet scent of macerated sakura, immediately conjuring up images of a certain person in my mind even before I have a chance to see her. Good evening, Father, Grandmother. Ah, yes, I should have suspected. For me to be suddenly pulled away by Alex of all people when he already knew of my plans. Of course their meddling would have been the reason. To what do I owe the pleasure? Father and Grandmother are knelt by the table in the center of the room, their eyes glued directly on me. As soon as I speak up, Father glances away for a second, nervously coughing into the side of his closed fist. More surprisingly, still is seeing Kuroda among the other two servants they have standing behind them. Why is he there? Usually they are only followed by the top servants of their specific factions each. Why is one of mine... Keisuke, forgive me for calling you away so suddenly. I was informed of your plans, however. The matter of hand is quite urgent. Please. Of course, he can't even speak plainly when Grandmother is around. The old hag just watches me with those cold eyes, her pruned face locked in some kind of deranged smile of self-satisfaction. Father makes a gesture towards one of the empty seats by the table, and I diligently kneel on one of the pillows by the opposite side of it. I take no pleasure following along with their whims, but rebellion for rebellion's sake will get me nowhere. At the very least, I need more information on what is happening here before charting a course of action. Is there something you need from me? Father looks away again, his eyes flicking at Grandmother's direction. He clears his throat once more, placing both hands on top of his knees. Yes, I'm afraid there is an explanation. Explanation? First, you need to tell me what it is for me to explain. I am quite clueless on this matter. You said it yourself, Father. I was called here quite suddenly. Grandmother's smile widens. The image of her smiling face right in front of me is enough to send chills down every fiber of my body, like getting doused by a sudden wave of frigid water. A cold, cold shroud covers the atmosphere around me. Explain to the boy, if you would. She raises a hand behind her head, snapping her fingers a few times, a gesture she uses quite often when addressing her servants. My eye immediately flicks towards the cheetah standing right behind her. However, I am surprised to notice someone else stepping forward itself. As you wish, my lady. I am pleased to be of service. Kuroda steps forward, bowing to my grandmother and speaking with a tone of deference I'd never heard from him before. Kuroda, what are you... Silence. Do not interfere with the servant's report. She raises a hand in the air, stopping me dead in my tracks just as I'm about to stand up. All these years I've tried to minimize my contact with her as much as possible. The reality is, I'm terrified of this woman. Even the smallest movement coming from her is enough to make me freeze. And now she's looking at me with that maddened smile, gloating over something. I just don't know what. For the past 5 years, I've helped Keisuke-sama to open up a secret bank account, far from the reach of the Urushihara Corporation. Said account was used to store diverted funds over the course of the years. I was personally assigned to all matters relating to this account, such as making deposits and withdrawals. As Keisuke-sama was not of yet age when the account was opened, I was also assigned as the supervising adult, and ultimately its management fell to my discretion. Wait a second. Diverted funds? Are you accusing me of stealing? Kuroda grimaced, looking down at me from where he stood, his body not even moving a single inch. Then he crinkled his nose. As any good servant of the Urushihara estate, I lived to serve the interests of the Urushihara family. And knowing that he would merely find a way around it, even were I to refuse him, I went along, making sure to log every instance where I was made to deal with this illicit account. Illicit? The cruel smile on the old hag's face grew wider and wider every time she looked at me, taking pleasure at the total and complete breakdown going on inside my brain. At the request of the lady, and before he could ultimately take advantage of his newfound age of majority, I withdrew all the money from the account before my name could be removed from it, returning all of it to the coffers of the Urushihara family where it belongs. What? At the sound of something too absurd to be believed, I jumped to my feet, knocking on the table on my way up. The mix of emotions bubbling inside of me rose until it eventually burst through, too confusing to be made sense of. Kuroda, you! How could you? That is my money, my allowances that I've collected over the years. To accuse me of stealing? Embezzling company funds like I even have access to those? Irizawa, I did not want to believe. Hearing him speak, I turned to see Alex frowning. His fists were clenched so tightly that his claws pierced through the skin. drops of blood dripping from them and onto the floor. In response, Kuroda scoffed, shaking his head with the same neutral face he'd worn since he began to speak. Whoever this person is, he's not the Kuroda I know. You need only think logically to realize who you should offer your allegiance to in this situation. The family to whom the money rightly belongs, or some half and half who happen to be taken in by sheer luck, all the while scorning his own responsibilities. If you ask me, the choice is clear. You ought to rethink your allegiances, Drake. My loyalty is to the young master, and incidentally the future of the Urushihara Corporation. Kuroda cocked his head to the side, bringing a finger to his lips as they curved up in a smile. Oh, my apologies. I was not aware that Keisuke-sama had decided to accept his position as heir. Kuroda's voice dripped with an excess of mockery and venom that was unlike him. Whoever this man standing in front of me is, he's nothing like the calm, collected, and gentle Kuroda I've known and trusted for the past 10 years. My brain refuses to make sense of the whole situation unfolding around me. My heart pumps so hard in my chest that it rang in my ears, nearly drowning out all sound with this ever-present beating, similar to a rhythmic drum set. Kuroda, how could you? As soon as he heard me, the fox's smile vanished once again. For a fraction of a second, I could have sworn I saw his eyes flicking down to the floor before they hardened again. I am merely protecting the assets of the Urushihara estate. I'm the one who should be asking you that question. How could you steal from your own family? You know I didn't. Why are you even doing this? I repeated the question even though, deep down, I already knew the answer. They bought him out. Such a simple truth shouldn't be too hard to understand, yet I completely failed to grasp it. Kuroda had been my head attendant since I was first brought under the banner of the Urushihara family. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there. Oof. Quite an episode. Jesus Christ. So, yep. Looks like Kuroda backstabbed Keisuke. Where we go from here, I am not sure. He has to have some... I don't know, maybe he doesn't even have any fucking proof at all. He just gave all that money back to the family, so... And the grandmother is definitely going to believe her bought-out servant over the grandson that she hates and wants nothing to do with, so... Yeah. Looks like Keisuke is in a bit of a pickle. I know Alexander has his back. Not sure where his father's allegiances lie. I guess we shall find out in time. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.